My name is Kevin. I'm founder of SyncRelease.com. At SyncRelease, we have created an easy-to-use release management tool for small to medium businesses, software development team. So please go and check it out. And then we are now giving away free access to anybody who want to do the beta testing and join our beta program. So please go and check it out. So today, I would like to demonstrate how you can use SyncRelease for your software development project. So let's go ahead and start the project. So today, for the demo purpose, we're gonna be building the simple Node.js API endpoint application. So we're gonna have only one single endpoint, and then it will take the two integer number, let's say A and B, and then add them up, and then we return the sum result in JSON format. So it's pretty simple, nothing fancy. We are here just to demonstrate how you can use SyncRelease for a Node.js project like this one. So I have published this URL in the GitHub repository publicly under my personal account, so you can go and check it out after the end of the tutorial. So let's go and show you the code. So here, in the source code we have the index.js file, and then it contains basically just the home page, and then it returns calculator API as a string. So let's go and show you. So basically this is the home page, and then now it doesn't have any endpoint that we want to build, because eventually we want to build something like /sum, and then this will be the endpoint, and then it should return the result. But right now we don't have anything, so it will return the 404 not found error. But anyway, so let's get started. To start, we will go and use the demo website. So okay, let me log in. Okay, this is just a home page. It shows you the latest progress and everything about your release process across all the project. So anyhow, we're gonna add this project to our SyncRelease. So by the way, SyncRelease support two type of version control system. It can be either Subversion or it can be Git. So it's your choice. I guess most of you will be using Git, and the majority of the people will be using Git. And then another thing about this option is checkout is you can either host your project or repository on SyncRelease, or you can just use it from edit from GitHub or Bitbucket if you have hosted your repository outside of SyncRelease. So that's the case in this demo, because we are hosting our project in GitHub. So let's just choose Git, and then we don't check this checkbox, and then click next. And then here we enter the project name. I'm gonna give a name called just calculator API, and then I need the Git repository URL. I'm gonna use the SSH URL, and then here you can enter pretty much anything. This is just a Git config for the Git user, because SyncRelease will automatically create the release packages as a release tag in your repository. So right now we don't have any release tag, 0 tag. So after we start integrating or adding into the SyncRelease, in the future it's gonna create the release packages. So for that purpose, we need to give some kind of Git username. So you can get anything you want. So right now I'm just gonna give it a username as SyncRelease bot, and then email is bot@syncrelease.com. And then I need the private key to log in or access this repository. So instead of using my own personal account security key, I'm gonna create the deploying key. So for this only particular repository or project. So go with the deploy key, and then here we need to add the deploy key. So deploy key is basically just ISA, public and private key. So you can generate it on your computer, or you can just use any other application. I mean, for me, I will just use this website. Then let's generate. So we need to copy the public key first, and then give it to the GitHub. We just call this SyncRelease bot, and then you also need to give a write access so that SyncRelease can create a release tag. So we add it, and then we need to copy the private key. Let's add the private key. Then let's create. Okay, good. Now our our repository is added as a new project to SyncRelease. So now you will see after we added this project, SyncRelease automatically create initial release package. All it does is basically take the latest code from your master branch and then create as a new release tag. So you can verify check it out here. So before we don't have any release tag. Now you will see we have the one release tag called SyncRelease 1. So next I will show you how you can do your first deployment with SyncRelease. So before we can deploy anything, we need to first set up the deployment environment. Deployment environment is basically, it can be your production or test or staging, environments where we will deploy the code so that your user can see on the internet, or it can be intranet. Anyhow, let me go and add the new deployment environment. So in our case, I have a server running on the DigitalOcean. So it is we will log in using SSH. So you have other option as well. You can use the SCP protocol or FTP, or it can also be advanced custom, which I can explain in the future video. So let's just use the SSH for deployment. Here I just call is production environment, and then the next thing is that we need to add the server information where we want to deploy. So a little thing about the server is like SyncRelease support deploying to multiple server in one particular environment. Let's say you have the more than one like web server running behind the load balancer. So for those kind of scenario, you can use this feature to add more server to be deployed. So anyhow, in our case, we only have one single server, physical server. So we just enter the information here. So let me get the server name. Okay, and then the username is this for my server. Okay, and then I got this, and then we want to here. So you have to give the directory path on your remote server where you want to be where you want to deploy or upload. It has to be absolute path. So in my case, we're gonna be deploying to this directory, and then here's for the remote command. So basically what it means is like after the SyncRelease complete uploading all the file and code changes to your remote server, sometimes you might want to run some kind of command script, for example database migration, or restarting the server. So in our case, because we are using the Docker to run the server, so I will try to do the Docker restart. So let me copy the command I already have written in my node. So here all it does is go into the deploying, the destination directory, and then we are just doing the Docker restart. And then here you see the exclude list. It's basically similar to kind of ignore list, git ignore list, kind of like that. So sometimes, for example, when you're deploying to remote server, it might already have something like .env file. So you don't want to overwrite the env file on the remote server. In that case, you can tell SyncRelease, hey, don't process or don't overwrite. So to completely skip or ignore those files. So here you can give the list of the file. It can also be wine cup, for example, something like this. So in this case, it will be skipping all the env file. Anything ending with .env file extension. It can also be a folder. So for example, something like node module, something like that. This is the directory. Anyhow, in our case, we will not be skipping or excluding any file, so I just leave it blank. But what we're gonna do is, because we are deploying the NodeJs app, and then I want to install some Yen application. Yen install to install the node module dependency. So here, sorry. Now Yen install, then it will be in production mode. One thing is, this is just a Docker image, basically, because we're gonna be using using the Node.js. So I'm just choosing the Docker image with the Node.js support. So here, clicking on this link, you can manage the list of the Docker images for your team. Anyhow, in this case, we will be using the Node.js existing Docker image. So let's create this deployment environment. Okay, we have only one release package. The release number is 1. So let's go ahead and deploy that. So we are going to deploy the release package number 1, which is created from the master branch. So I just select that and then click push. And then here you will see it's deploying in progress. Wait for a few seconds. Because we are deploying for the first time, we are doing the Yen install and then uploading all those node modules. So it takes time. But in the second time, when you deploy the rsync protocol or in the SSH, it will take care of the deploying only the file that's a chain. So it will be faster. Okay, now deployment is complete. So here is just a log information for what is it being deployed, what was deployed. So anyhow, now let's go ahead and check out the website. So let me do this. Okay, here we now have the website. It is just as we expected. It is returning the home page with the calculator API as a string. But we do not have anything like the API endpoint that we want to build. That is to calculate the sum of the given two integer number. So we don't have that. So next step is we're gonna create that API endpoint, add it to our code. So let's come back to the code. So right now we only have the home page. So let's add the new endpoint. So I already have written the code. So let me just copy and paste it here. So here what we are adding is the new endpoint called / sum, and then all it does is just read from the query string in the URL, and then parameter A and B, and assuming they are integer number, and then we add it up and then return the sum in a JSON format. pretty simple, just nothing fancy, just for demonstration purpose only. So we save it. First, let's check it out in local. So 1 and 2, okay, here's returning. When we get number 1 and 2, it gives the sum of the result, which is 3. Let's get number 5. It should return 6. It's okay, it's working. So we're gonna commit this code, but before we commit, let me also run the bit. Bit means the compiling, transpiling, because I'm using the Babel. Okay, and now we have these changes. Okay, let me commit it. Adding the new VPN endpoint for adding 2 integer. So save that. Then I push the code changes. Okay, let's go back to SyncRelease. Here you see, after refresh, you see this is the latest chain we have committed and pushed. This is basically the outstanding changes since the cut off from the since the last release packet, because we have the last release packet is the release number 1, and then since that time, this is the cutoff commit number. So since that commit, this is the outstanding changes. So if you have more than one changes, you're gonna see it here. Then you can select and cut off from your desired commit number. So here I also would like to explain a little bit about how the release package work, or in concept. So here, the release package concept is pretty simple, but we're gonna use Subversion as an example, but it's also the same thing for Git. Basically, let's say you have the revision number 1. It can be Git hash number. Just for the simplicity purpose, let's assume revision number 1. It has some changes. So in your trunk or the master branch, and then when you add your project, your repository, to the SyncRelease, what it will do is what it will does is it will automatically create a new release package by taking the latest code changes in your trunk or master branch. So in this case, we have only one revision or commit number, revision 1. So SyncRelease will create the release package 1 with that revision number 1. And then let's say next the user or you make other code changes to your repository. So at the revision number 2, you added the find A, revision number 3 at the find B, and then revision number 4 at the find C, etc. So, and then when you come back to SyncRelease, right now this will be how our repository will look like. So right now we have the release package number 1 with the revision 1, but the outstanding changes since the last latest release package is here, this guy. So revision 2, 3, 4, they are outstanding changes since the last release package number 1. So using SyncRelease, let's say you pick revision number 2 and then trying to create a new release package. So then the SyncRelease will create a new release package by using this revision number 2, adding on top of the revision 1 from the previous release package. So that's why here you're gonna see in the release package number 2 is contained the revision number 1 and 2. So basically you can keep adding more release package by, let's say, choosing revision number 3 and 4 all together, or separately. So that way you're gonna create the CD or release packages. Basically those are the release tag. Then you can deploy like a time machine. Whatever release package number you want, you can select it and deploy it. So this is just a basic concept theory about what the release package is in SyncRelease. Okay, let me go back here. So now we have added the new API endpoint to add the 2 integer number. So let's create the new release package number 2, because we have now currently we have one release package, release number 1. So let me create the release package. So by default, SyncRelease will pre-populate with the commit message number, or you can give any any information about this release. So in this case, I don't make any changes. I just reuse the whatever pre-populated message. So click OK. Okay, good. Now we have the second release package. So let's go ahead and deploy. So right now in production, we only have the current release is release number 1. So let's define the release number 2, release package number 2. Click deploy. Let's see. Okay, it's deploying, currently in progress. So it will show you in real time the progress. Almost done. Just a few seconds. Okay, it's finished. So let's go ahead and check the website on the production. Okay, here we go. Now the new endpoint is working. It's over there. So let's say I give 1 of 4. It should return them 5. Okay, it's working. So let's say something go around, or you don't like about what you had deployed just recently. So you can also easily roll back. So this is what we mean by like roll back easily, like a time machine. So let's say we want to roll back to release number 1. So let's say we roll back. Just wait for a few seconds, and then rollback should be completed. Okay, and also one thing is like you can see the deployment log history, and then here it shows you all the history of the deployment, who made the deployment, when was it made, etc. You can also search the deployment history by typing here. See this. Anyhow, okay, deployment is complete. Let's go and check it out. So because we just rolled back, this endpoint should be gone. It should no longer be there. So let me refresh. Okay, it is expected as working. So the new endpoint is gone because we just roll back. So this is how you can roll back and deploy. And then next step, I want to show you how you can do the bit process.